Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of That Found Out with me, Tegan. Now, for this episode, first of all, I'm sorry for the loudness of the location. I'm going away tonight, and I thought that I was leaving at 5 p.m, and we're now leaving at like 3 p.m, which is like 2 hours. And I still had errands to run and film the podcast, so I was like, I have to just combine the two. So while I'm waiting for Coco's laundry to finish, I'm recording, but I am in a different location and it is louder, so I apologise. But I can't even remember what I was going to say anyway. There's loads more distractions here, so I have to try and be focused. Today's episode is going to be about emotions, and for me, emotions is quite a funny topic because for years I really thought that I was a cold-hearted soul with very little emotion. I probably only really discovered my emotions 2 or 3 years ago, like my proper emotions, because of, well, let's go from the beginning. So, as I've said before, I'm a very happy person. I don't typically get angry or I don't really have negative emotions. I always remember myself to be happy. And if I wasn't happy, I would still put on a smile and to be happy anyway. So, growing up, I never really had the experience of being overly angry or having a lot of arguments I did have the frustration, but I think that was more to do with my disability, and I would get frustrated that I couldn't do things. But I'm not really an angry person. I've never really remembered a time where I was overly angry or enraged or anything like that. So I always was just really happy, but I was also just really cold towards emotions. I wasn't aware of my emotions beyond happiness, and I didn't like other people being emotional around me because I just didn't know what to do, didn't know how to react, didn't know what to say. So it was just a weird time. But anyway, I think it was about 3 years ago I went to my first counselling session, and I'm pretty sure it was mainly to do with sports, and I had a very toxic sporting environment, and that was when I started to get mostly angry because I was conflicted because I was in such a toxic environment, but I was able to have more opportunities to do with the sport, and with horses it's a lot harder to find something suitable, and at that moment in time I didn't have anywhere else to go, so I felt like I had no choice but to put up with the toxic environment to then be able to do what I actually loved and enjoyed, which was the riding element of it. So I was torn, but I was just looking to find a way to deal with the negative emotions and also how to deal with toxic people and not let it affect you. And so I found a counsellor, and she's great because, first of all, 2 things. I feel like as a black woman, you need a black counsellor because they just understand it way better. And they understand everything to do with culture, they understand everything to do with how respect is different within cultures, how racial bias racial discrimination can be very mentally affecting. They understand that, and she also just speaks my language, like, we understand each other to another level. And I had a counsellor a few years previously, and that was totally different, but I didn't get along with her as well as what I get along with this counsellor. And I think it is partly because the one that I got now is way more creative. She starts the session mainly with a form of artwork or a form of drawing how you feel, drawing how your day went, drawing what you want to talk about. Or she has certain cards where you can like go through all the cards and pick out the ones that resonate with you the most that week. And that's, I don't know, I connect with that more. And anyway, this counsellor, I only see her once a year for 6 weeks. I don't see her all the time, but I like to go once a year to just like reset my mind and my thoughts and talk about stuff that I probably don't talk about with anyone else. So she's very useful in that sense. But anyway, the first time I went, we spoke a lot about how to deal with toxic environments and how to protect your own peace. And a lot of the conclusion from that was just that I was in a predicament that I was so stuck, and that is what frustrated me. And it felt like no matter what I said to protect myself or to stand up to myself, I would then get disciplined or reprimanded within the within like the sport of what they were able to offer me. So first of all, she actually got me to understand that I was frustrated and angry. Because I was just like, I don't know what this feeling is. I don't know how to describe it. It just makes me feel really hot and like I don't know what to do. And it's really annoying because I've never felt this way before. And she was like, Tegan, you're angry. And I was like, that makes sense because I've not really felt that before. So that makes sense. That's what it is. And she kind of sent me away to do some homework and to learn about like emotions, but also the different vocabulary that comes with emotions. And there's so many different words that you can use to describe how you're feeling. I'm still very vague. Like I know exactly how I'm feeling in my head, but I don't know how to put it into words. So I'm still learning the right vocabulary to use. But that was the first year. And then the second year, I did more work on myself over that year. I left the toxic environment, which was the best decision I could have made. And do you know what? I also loved that by the end of the first year, she also really hated the people that were in my life. So I feel like a counsellor normally doesn't give you their personal opinion on like the people in your life, or like they don't actually they give you guidance, but they don't actually tell you how they feel about it. But on my last session, she was like, yeah, I've never met this person, but I hate this person. I hate the way that she talked to you, and I hate the way that she treated you. And I was like, well, I'm glad that we're in agreement about that because, yeah, I'm not a fan. So that also made me laugh that she was like, I have to just tell you that, like, you're not going insane. Like, this person is beyond crazy. And that made me laugh. But anyway, the second year, I really delved into my emotions, and what is actually kind of funny to me, only looking back in hindsight, is that my trigger to like fully feeling every emotion under the sun was Grey's Anatomy. I started watching Grey's Anatomy, and the amount of emotions I went through watching that show, I felt like I went on the longest, most treacherous emotional roller coaster the whole show. And it was also my first experience of having, like, pure panic, because before then, I was a very confident and, like, sure of myself person. And then it was like unleashing these emotions. It gave me anxiety because I was like, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I don't know what this feeling is. It's scaring me. I don't know what to do about it. And I'm also still kind of in this toxic environment, and everything very overwhelming. And I experienced panic for the first time, and it fucking scared me. I actually thought I was having a heart attack. I'm pretty sure I stayed up all night, like, checking my heart rate to make sure that I wasn't dying. Because basically, if you haven't watched Grey's Anatomy, first of all, there probably will be some spoilers that I'm going to say. So if you haven't, why haven't you? Because it's been out for years. But just a warning, I am going to spoil some things. But anyway, the episode where Pretty Penny comes to dinner at Meredith's house is the one that broke me. And you know what? It wasn't even Derek. It wasn't even, like, the plane crash, or it wasn't when Meredith was almost froze to death. It was Pretty Penny that broke me, because I just told myself in Meredith, like, the way that she held her composure the whole dinner. Basically, okay, so for those that don't know, Penny killed Derek. Derek is Meredith's husband, and also, like, the main character on the show. And one of the other doctors starts dating Penny, and she invites her to their dinner where all the doctors are. And they obviously all know Meredith and Derek. So, but no one knows that this is the girl that killed Derek. Only Meredith knows that. So Meredith opens the door to her friend and this new girlfriend, and she immediately clocks that is the woman that killed her husband. The girl that killed the husband clocks that, oh, that's the wife of the husband that I killed. And she decides to, like, introduce herself like she doesn't know her. Meredith played along, and I was sat there just thinking how angry I would be. Like, I wouldn't even know how to react. And I think that made me panic. So I was like, if I was in that situation, I would not know how to, like, see, I can't even talk about it. I feel like there'd be so many emotions within yourself that I wouldn't know what to do. And my default my whole life has been just keep your composure and put on a smile. And that's what Meredith did. She just, like, carried on like nothing was wrong. And she got through practically the whole dinner, and then it wasn't until Penny said that she was moving to her hospital to work, but that was when Meredith was like, oh, I know her actually from before. This is the one that killed my husband. And then obviously everyone went crazy and was like, what the fuck? She killed Derek. And Meredith was like, yep, she killed Derek. And then she just got up and walked away and went to her room and sat in silence. And I just thought, that is me. That is a representation of me, because that is exactly what I would do. Because I don't have the ability always to show my emotions. Like, what's the word? I can't think. But, like, just to show my emotions on my face. Like, I'm very reserved. I keep my smile. I keep pushing. But behind closed doors, I'm like, all the emotion going on. So I saw myself in Meredith, and it sent me into a fucking panic attack, just thinking about all the emotion that I would feel in that moment. Like, if I was Meredith and the person that killed my husband showed up at my house one day out of the blue, sat at my dining table and was eating my dinner. Anyway, my head was blown, and I panicked for so long. And it took me ages to even realise that I was panicking. I just thought, like, my initial thought was like, I'm so stressed out, I just need to go to bed, I need to sleep. And then as soon as I lay down to sleep, I couldn't sleep because I'm like, my heart is going 100 miles per hour, I'm gonna literally die. So it was a real wake-up call for me because I didn't know anything other than happiness. So I was like, what the hell is going on with me right now? And then since then, I've been an emotional girl from literally watching Grey's Anatomy. I cry at most TV shows and anything remotely cute or funny or sad. I get angry more than what I ever probably did before. I don't know, I'm just much more emotional now that I've like awakened that in me. But that being said, I'm still quite reserved in the way that I present my emotions. And like to me, I always thought that if you were sad, you had to be crying. Or like if you were angry, you had to be yelling and shouting and like making noise and being angry. But you can be angry and be silent, and you can be sad and be silent and just like be in that feeling in yourself and not have to show anything. And that was one thing that my counsellor talked to me about, because she was like, I don't know where you got these ideas that like in order to be angry you have to be like steam coming out of your ears, red hot raging. Like, no, you can be angry and just still be you, but be angry. And I was like, oh, no one told me that. I didn't know that. Didn't know that, guys. Sorry, I didn't know that was a thing. And I don't know, I've always had a weird relationship with emotions because I also think my emotional reaction is quite delayed because I immediately think with logic rather than emotion. So I don't process how I actually feel about things until later on down the line. So a lot of the time, if anything happens in my life, my head is always thinking, what is plan A, what is plan B, what am I gonna do next, what's the next step? And then once I've got that answered, I can then think, oh, how do I actually feel about this that happened? Or sometimes I don't even think about it. It just might be a thought that comes to mind months later, and then I realised, oh, I haven't actually thought about that. Let me actually think about it and see how I feel. But then also sometimes, so what's happening now is that I'm very in tune with my emotions, and I'm very good at like understanding and recognising my emotions and my triggers and how I feel. And do you know what? PMS is also a thing, because during that week my emotions are way high, and that only happened recently as well. But in that week I feel like all of the drastic overreacting emotions, and I have to talk myself down to being like, you are feeling this way, but it's heightened because of your hormones. Like, it's not as bad as what you're thinking. It's just because you're in your hormone cycle and your brain is just like changing the way that you think about everything. So everything is heightened. What else was I saying? I keep forgetting. Give me a second, it will come to me. I was just gonna say something about being angry now. Like how I express myself. I actually can't remember. I think I was saying that I'm quite good at, well, now since having emotions, I'm quite good at recognizing those emotions and also recognizing certain triggers or like, what do you call it, like things that might happen that might cause me to feel a certain way. And now what I'm working on is trying not to avoid things that I know will make me feel angry. Because I tend to like, I'm very happy in my happy bubble. I like to feel happy. I like, that's my comfort. That's that's me. Like I feel most me when I'm happy, and when I am feeling angry or frustrated or sad, that feels like I'm further away from me and my core of who I am. It feels like I'm at an arm length away and I can't get back to who I actually am. So I don't like that feeling because it just feels like I'm not in control. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand how to get back. And because of that, I now tend to avoid things that will send me in that direction because I don't want the stress. I don't want to have to deal with it. I don't want to feel angry. I don't want to feel stressed. I don't want to feel annoyed or frustrated. I just want to get on with my day and be my happy-go-lucky self. So I try to avoid those things, but then that's also a really bad habit because I can't go about my life just being happy all the time and just pretending that everything is okay. And even though I really want to, that's something that we're currently working on because there's so many things that happen within life that will just throw you a curveball, and the worst thing that you can do is just ignore it and not acknowledge it. So I'm trying to find a way of compromise within my head so I can, because the other thing that I thought was that once you feel that emotion, you have to deal with it there and then. But actually, you can feel a way about something and come back to it at a later date. Which my counsellor only told me this like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, why didn't you tell me that before? These last 2 weeks I've been like putting that on hold. I'm gonna carry on with my life for a day, and then I'll come back to you at 7 p.m. when I have time. And it made my whole day so much easier because I never thought how you could just put something on hold for a second and like actually process how you feel about it before being emotional about it. And I don't know, I'm still learning because I'm still like very new to this whole emotional thing, which I think is actually quite funny because I don't know, everyone around me in my life is quite emotional and I've never known how to deal with it because I just don't know. I can't relate to them how they're feeling, and I'm not really, I'm not comfortable comforting people that are emotional because I don't know what to say or do, which also isn't a bad thing, but my way of dealing with it is humour. So I just make a joke out of everything and I make any bad situation funny and I just smile and make other people smile, and that's how I deal with my emotions. But I understand that's not how everyone else deals with their emotions. So I always thought it was a bad thing, me being in any situation to do with emotions. But I'm also starting to learn that people do quite enjoy that separation of like someone being there for them. That can also change the mood and find the silver lining, or not even find the silver lining, but just like make them smile and then change their mindset about their day. My camera died, so I'm guessing that is a cue that I have to go, because not only am I on a time crunch, I'm also very hot in this car, and I need to go and get on with these errands before we leave. So, thank you all for listening. If you relate to me in any way about feeling either lack of emotion or excessive emotion, or just not knowing how to feel about your emotions or express your emotions, then feel free to leave a DM below and let's have a little chat as a little community and discuss how we feel about things. There's lots of emotions and there's lots of things going on in everyone's lives and in the world that can evoke many emotions. So let's have a little chat and see what people think. But thank you all for listening, and I'll see you guys next week for another episode. And I hope you have a great week or weekend or day, morning, afternoon, night, whenever you're watching this. And I shall see you next week. Bye, guys. Mwah.